A few months ago, I did a video on how to use Spotify for audiobooks after Brandon Sanderson started to release his books using Spotify and Speechify. Honestly, since then, this video has become one of the most popular videos on my channel, and since then, I've been exploring other audiobook applications and deciding what I like about them or don't like about them. Really, I've only tried 3 of them since the State of Sanderson, Libby, Barnes and Noble, and Spotify. I attempted to use Speechify, but they wanted you to pay for a subscription, and I wasn't willing to do that. So out of the other 3, I have by far preferred the Libby app. For those of you that don't know what the Libby app is, it's a library application that lets you check out some of your favorite books in both the reading version, so electronic version, and then also in audiobook version. So with this application, you have access to thousands and thousands of free audiobooks. Today I'm going to go over that app and then also kind of compare it to Audible. To use the Libby app, of course, the first thing you have to do is go and download the app onto your mobile device. After downloading it, you're going to have to get yourself a library card, and I know some of the library options on the map that pulls up require you to either go to their website or go in person to get yourself a library card, and then you input your library card number into the application. However, I was able to search one of the bigger libraries in my area, and I was able to get a Libby or a library card and a Libby membership all through the Libby app. I did not have to go through any other service in order to get started. Once you've downloaded the app, created your account, and gotten yourself one of these library cards, you're able to search for books or authors or however else you search. You can sort through the results by clicking the audiobook button, and then you can either check out or place holds on different books. And once again, I want to say that this is all free. But from here, we get into sort of the tips, tricks, and how to use this app to its full efficiency. For example, one of the books I'm currently looking to check out is Earthsea, or The Wizard of Earthsea, which is the first book of Kay Le Guin's Earthsea novels. And here you can see that there's currently a 10-week wait before I'm able to check this audiobook out. And honestly, I want to point out the fact that it's amazing that a book this old still had, with this many copies in the library, still has this long of a waiting period today. This book is so popular that even after all this time, people are still having to wait 10 weeks to check out this book. Anywho, because there's a 10-week waiting period, I cannot access this title right now. I have to wait. Even though it usually comes available sooner than 10 weeks, it will still be around 10 weeks. So like maybe 8 weeks, maybe if I'm lucky 6, but that's a long time to go without an audiobook. So this is where like planning starts to come in handy. Typically the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, the continuous volumes after the original, they'll have shorter times because not everyone decides to continue on with the book. But since I know that I'm probably going to be continuing the books of Earthsea for quite some time, I'm going to go ahead and add the 2nd and 3rd novels of this series onto my waiting line, or onto my waiting list, onto my holds. I'm going to take a holdout on these books, so that when I finish Wizard of Earthsea, I don't have a super long delay between the 1st and 2nd book. If for some reason these books come before I either get Wizard of Earthsea or before I finish Wizard of Earthsea, it's super simple to just push the book out a little bit longer. You can even set the date forward in the future of when you want to check out the book. And in the meantime, while you're still waiting to check out the first book, the Book of Earthsea, you can go ahead and add other novels that are either shorter waits, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, like Children of Dune is here for me, or you can keep searching and find a book that doesn't have a wait list that is available today. And for me, that is Kay Le Guin's Left Hand of Darkness. If you do this process correctly, you can always have a book waiting ready to be read as you finish the book you're currently working on. So there shouldn't be more than maybe a day between books. But if you get really good at this, you can actually make sure that that next book is ready as soon as you finish the book you're currently on. Now, I remember when I first started using this app, I remember like being hesitant to start a book because I didn't want to get halfway through the book and be not finished with it and have it returned to the library and have to wait weeks before I'm able to recheck out the book. Fortunately, if you fall into this position where you haven't quite finished the book by the due date, you can easily just extend the period of time you have this book without having to return it and start the process all over again. That way, you can just keep pushing out the date until you finish it. Now that we've kind of walked through how to use the app and some tips and tricks for using the app, I did want to kind of compare it to Audible and kind of see what some of the pros and cons were. Libby is, of course, way more burdensome to use. It takes a lot more effort to make sure that you're constantly having a book to read, or at least if you're picky like me and are a huge mood reader, finding a book that you're in the mood to read, because you have to constantly be on top of it to make sure a book is readily at your disposal. With that being said, Libby is absolutely free. So it's hard to beat free, and even though it is a little bit more burdensome, once you get used to it, you're able to navigate the app very smoothly. And like I said, I got to the point where I literally don't have to wait at all between the books I'm reading. But Audible does literally just have all the books stored directly in your library. And Audible, it doesn't get enough credit as far as the free books that you have available at your disposal. Audible also has free books and just some free science fiction and fantasy novels available at your disposal include Frankenstein, Dracula, John Carter of Mars. So the first John Carter of Mars, A Princess of Mars, that book is free too. And these three books that I just pointed out, they are not bad books. These are some of the greatest classics of all time that have a huge impact and are really well told stories. So it's not like they're just giving you free terrible novels. You're getting really good books for free with Audible too. It's just very limited in its selection. As far as functionality between the two, like once you actually have the book ready to be listened, the two are very comparable. You can adjust speed listening times. So like me, I will typically listen to books around 2 times speeds, maybe a time and a half depending on what I'm doing when I'm listening. But both audiobook applications have this feature to be used. You can pause it, exit out of the app, and restart back up where you left off. I think you can bookmark even on both apps as well. I've never used that feature, but for those of you that do like using that feature, I think it is there both in Libby and Audible. I did experience one glitch in the Libby app one time where it didn't let me listen to a book for some reason. And I don't understand why, because typically when it was saying in the top that it may be due to an internet issue, but Libby uses it to where you downloads whatever book you have onto your phone. So it shouldn't take internet in order to access the title. In fact, I've had my Wi-Fi turned off and put my phone on airplane mode since this issue occurred. And it's allowed me to access the book without internet perfectly fine. So I don't know exactly where this issue came from. Maybe the book wasn't downloaded all the way and it was trying to access it. But besides that one glitch, I didn't have any other glitches while using it. Besides the amount of effort it takes to use Libby compared to Audible, the other big difference between the two sites is just the sheer amount of options between the two. Libby has a very selected number of works, and it varies depending on what library you choose, what books they have access to at the time. I'm guessing if you're going at a bigger, more popular library, you're going to have a much broader availability than if you're at like some smaller community library. I'm not quite sure. I've only accessed the one library through this app. If you know of anything different, leave a comment down below to let everyone know. But when you compare the library selection that you have through the Libby app compared to the hundreds of thousands of books available through Audible, you do have a limited selection. For example, I just went through all 4 books of the Book of the New Sun. None of these were available through the Libby application. I had to get all 4 of these through Audible, and I had to use 4 Audible credits to do that. Another example is going to be the Discworld novels. I haven't been able to have any of these pull up on the Libby application. I've had to get the first one, which is The Color of Magic, through Audible. And those are short little books, so you've got to use a credit for each one of those. And funny enough, I think Audible is redoing all of those books, re-recording them, and I've heard good things about them so far. I haven't listened to A Color of Magic yet, but it is one of the ones higher up on my list. But even with those two cons, both the amount of effort that it takes to use and then its limited selection of books available, I will say Libby has become my primary audiobook listening service. I listen to more books on Libby recently than I have on Audible. And part of it is because even though the selection is limited, a lot of them are your more popular books. They're going to keep newer, more popular books in stock, ready to be used at your disposal. I primarily use Audible as kind of like a supplement to the Libby app now. Something else I wanted to take the time in this video to do is to clarify my position on Audible, because I really like the Audible app. And after using the Libby app and seeing the limited selection that is available through these libraries, it also kind of highlighted what Audible brought to not only the audiobook community, but the publishing community in general. Audible has made audiobooks more accessible and affordable than ever before. They are mass recording all sorts of books, whether it's the super popular Discworld that they're revamping from their old recordings, or little not well as known books. They seem to be trying to record these books en masse to make them available. And yeah, some of these less popular books may not ever be paid off, but other books are going to make so much money that it doesn't matter. They just want to make the selection as thorough as possible. And it's because of Audible that we have such a huge variety of Audible books in the first place. Audible has done a ton for the audiobook community and the publishing companies in general, and I'm continuing to have a Audible membership. But I also believe that Audible will improve by also using some of these other audiobook applications. There needs to be competition in the market for there to be innovation and new ideas and for new things. If we want the audiobook world to get even better, we need to encourage competition between them and some of these other big companies, so that they have to keep competing and getting better and better and doing more and more for both the consumers of books and the writers of books together. Libby is, of course, a free app and I don't see really competing as much with Audible as, let's say, Spotify or Barnes and Noble's Nook app. But I do see it helping the overall picture by making these audiobooks free and affordable and giving people another alternative to go to. But yeah, in conclusion, Libby is an amazing resource that you should 100% download. It takes a little bit of a learning curve to get adjusted and learn how to best utilize the app. But once you do, you will not be disappointed. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe to get notified when the next video drops. And until next time, I hope you're out there reading cool new books and exploring cool new worlds. And until then, I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching.